Right, I'm going to have to miss a bus. I've got a lot I need to mention. But I need to start off with this Ella, yeah, because it's very concerning, this is, because they should have just let me have that friendship with her. But they didn't. She's turned against me. Or if she hasn't turned against me, but something a bit more serious. Serious has cropped up. There's a track called Trinity, chapter 19, and it says, I can't wait for love, which is a jungle track. On that record I prefer chapter 20, which is more deep, which is on Dance Trans Randall Mission Control 2nd of the 4th 1994 mix. After it says, I can't wait for love, there is a sound sample in that track which near enough makes the suggestion to say Ella. This is that 4-letter name I'm not supposed to mention, but things are becoming much more fucking serious at the moment. I mean, I do like that person, but I think it's been put through. But then, when I had a look on the internet to see what chapter 19 means, whether it's like, you know, and I typed in chapter 20 as well, obviously, but chapter 19 actually means the return of Jesus fucking Christ. Ella's also a religious name. She uncovers her name in 250 of my jungle tracks, in the choir chords or God chords or whatever else. The suggestions everywhere. The media's making the suggestion I'm going with her. Even 8 months later after it's been put through. I'm not exactly sure how it's happened or what's caused, but I had like a safeguarding on me, and she had a safeguarding on her because of the information content I put on Facebook, meaning that we can't have physical connections or contact. Unless she contacts me at a later time, it's going to have to be replaced. I got some very negative stuff I need to mention that's been fucking occurring today. And it's been occurring when I don't have my camera ready to photograph the evidence. I can't remember what order the sheets are in, so I'm just going to read them out. I mean, this is really nasty stuff. I think this is the first sheet anyway. Right, there's a couple of other sheets as well, obviously, but I'll just get through the main course of the stuff, because this setup is becoming so suggestive. I've had to, you know, today in particular, it's just come out extremely suggestive. 2 seconds, I need to check the time. Maybe I can make it. No, I can't. Fuck. No, I've got to lose the bus. I'm going to get back. Rebirth top. Kickback. What was it? A van, or I can't remember. Chair-in van. No sex top. Jason van. Knife-shaped car. Up the age van. Senior van. Adults van. TAR, so tar van. 2 very old people smiling at a table with drinks. A picture of that on the side of a van. Black and blue and stick colour and white car. Black grey car. Grey white. 4 more times grey white. Again, Wainwright. SSE van. Chic Baxter van. Just come to fucking pieces t-shirt look-alike. Just go van. Coach, sorry. Rent-a-kill van. I didn't write what it was. Raging Bull van. Night Attack van. Polar Speed van. Wheeler Fire van. Rocking Donkey van. Birder lorry. Abry van. Where I don't think this can offend my dad, but it says Michael's your only option, but it doesn't go into anything specific. It just went like a black and blue car, or whatever, or black sexual and blue or whatever, and then like grey white, and then just pissing about with that sort of van. Straight after that, YEAH, gun dead top, smiles all around van. Black grey white bikes timed to the same issue. 17 top, Turner's tanker, grey white, Hags van, it's the right thing to do van. Bike timed to a tingling room and bell end or whatever. Bike only, same again. Motorbike, bike, same issue again, same issue again, same issue again. Same again. Black, grey and white, Julia's car, sex wax, drain hit overtimed, 4 bike issues, life down the drain van, requires force van, At the top of the path, or where there's someone's wearing a T-shirt saying "Girl for you," but it's not in my direction. But I see what it says, and there are two male teenagers that are walking towards that top. So the setup's go in favour of them, doesn't it? Right. Where to now? Bike only, my way. Granny for you bus in the I felt like I had a paranormal force on the stone. It felt like my foot was shaking as I was walking there. I'm in church, you see. It's like a vibration. No, I've not had that before. I had another one actually. There's a nut that falls out of the tree onto my head. Ella Man van. So you did have the Ella. You've had Ella come out in that. Taken van. How typical. Your M&S bag. Replacement van. And then they're making the suggestion, a pregnant woman in my direction, and they have to time another rebirth top. Right, this is the second sheet. I read the third sheet. Message to you, van. Sick cunt gothic type of top. That includes the bad language, by the way. I'm not sure if that's legal, but that's what it says. Ex-stationary ripping... ripping you to pieces, van. Just-in-time van with a cartoon character smashing a double bell alarm clock. Girlfriend car with bunny head picture. No chance van. Rapid removals van. Then there's an air-shattering loud bike timed to an erection. See you next life. I can't remember if it's trash or thrash. It said one of the words. I put it down as thrash, so it might have been thrash. So it says, see you next life, thrash cowboy. And then directly after that, you had a taking you apart demolition van. Sexual looking car after that, and then a zilch van. Abri van, every life counts van. Grey car, time to get in a stretch. Boner, I don't have to keep wording it like that, but it's very irritating. They need to time a loud bike issue and time to a tingling, whatever. Same again, angled at me as I lift my head up. Black white car. There's a T-shirt that says serve time. So you've had that. It doesn't come very clever, does it? Because straight after that, you have a forever van. And that forever van had a picture of a butterfly on it. And then a white car. Right, there are other setups as well. And I have missed the bus, so I'm going to do a little walk or something, even though it's fucking hot and sunny. Because tomorrow I've got the dentist, I've got 4 fillings. Now one of the fillings is broken, and I know that for a fact. But I don't know about the other 3, because my teeth feel alright, but the likelihood is I haven't had dental treatment for a long time, so it's probably is got a few things missing there, so yeah. I just want to mention, I haven't actually turned against Ella that I saw at Mind on that community day on the 14th of January. It's just the thing is, they're getting misinterpretations or not, how do I word it? They're getting the wrong idea about the stuff that I put on Facebook. Now, obviously, I would like to have got to know it better, because obviously my chances of getting anyone are zilch. But to find out that her name's appearing on the Chapter 19 record has just sort of just shocked me, basically. I did this Ella thing's just coming out one after the other, day by day. Just 4 days ago, I found a new music track. Swift and Zinc, Crazed, spelt with a K, with the second track being Relentless, and Sweet Little Thing being the last track. But that Crazed track, I liked it on first listen, and even halfway through that track, on the second day that I first heard it after liking it on first listen, it says Ella 3 times in the middle part of the track. Also, the media are still suggesting that I'm going with Ella. They're making the suggestion and that suggestion. But the thing is, this person's going to have to contact me. But the problem is she's in a relationship. So if it is Return of Jesus Christ, I'm not saying it is, but all this is coming out extremely serious now, then Jesus has put a knife in me and stopped me getting anyone. And as far as setups go, as I've already mentioned this morning, they're telling me that Ella's turned against me as well, basically. But they're saying, you're not going to get anyone, you're on your bike, and saying you have to be rebirthed, you have to be born with Jesus, applying you're pregnant with Jesus, saying that's the only option left because there's no one left. Because Ella's turned against you, you're going to have to become pregnant with Jesus Christ. So that's what they're bloody saying or suggesting with the stupid setups. You're not going to get a return of Christ in a fucking twat form. The government or whoever's causing this are fucking spastics. You've got to take into account the only sex I've had in my life is being sexually abused as a child many times. Then it's the minimal with the Wayne business. You can't really call that sex. Then you've got the prostitute, which you can't really call sex. And then when I was swimming on the girl's back as a child, they're trying to put that down as sex when it's not. So, you know, something's going to have to be replaced because I'm not accepting nothing as a result. I'm not accepting being sexually crucified and being hanged for another life. It's happened in my last life as well, because I had a psychic reading going back 20 years ago, which my mum got for me. And it revealed that I was a lady in my last life, and I was abused many times as a little girl, and saying I had it really, really bad in my previous life. Sexually abused. Day after day, night after night, right through the whole of my childhood and my previous life. And then I wasn't lucky enough to get a relationship, whether it's a lesbian relationship or whether it was a man. I got nothing at all, and I died tragically in my early 20s. And she also, the past life psychic, said I was a really sexy type of lady that all the men fancied, but unfortunately in my previous life I didn't get anyone either. When I'm born again, I'm going to have to be sexually abused. There's no choice in the matter. So that means Christ has committed blue murder on me triple times. People are telling me to worship Jesus Christ, but how can I worship Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ was in a relationship with Mary Magdalene, a teenager or even younger than that. So he enjoyed the sex of a nice, young, fresh-looking, angel-type woman, or girl, should I say. And yet I'm not allowed nothing at all in my whole life, and I'm being told to go with an old hag, or a grubby old piece of shit that's a stale, used whatever, that's a mother, and someone uglier and older than people that sexually abused me as a child at the time, the age... they were when it happened, basically. You know, you don't tell someone to go with a very well-used person that you can't stand the fucking look of when you've been sexually abused. That's not going to repair the problem, is it? Well, thanks a lot, Ella, for turning, yeah? Because I will say something. On that day, I did like her to the fucking heart, yeah? And also, she is the nearest person to ever have liked me in my whole life that's female, and she just felt like she was family. I wanted her in my family. I had that feeling. I was actually trying to speak to her in some way, saying that I want to know you more, and I want to, and I want. Well, basically, I sort of tried to say that I want to get with her at a later time, but I wanted to get to know her first, and you know, but I didn't. It was too early to start that because I had that feeling. On that specific day, I had that feeling. I'm not going to ever see you again. I just had that sort of feeling. I saw you on that day, and I'm not going to see you again. I said, so I was trying to push a little bit, but not to the point where, you know. So I told her my name, and I said, if you want to stay in communication, yeah, and keep the friendship going when you leave here, just in case you never come back again, check me out on Facebook. Type in Justin Langford, locate it by Yeovil. Obviously, I've changed my name since then. It's Justin Zorrock Tyler Langford now on Facebook. But she never contacted me. I never saw her ever again after that time. And then I was put on a bad behaviour contract at Mind, so I couldn't interact with anyone or make friendship or give emails or phone numbers or engage in trying to make communication or sexual relationships or whatever. So this was because Lucy reported my Facebook to Mind, because I tried adding her as a friend because I knew her at Mind. But how I located that Lucy was almost impossible. She's only got about 20 friends in her friends list, and just search them, you literally got a 1 in a million chance of finding that channel. So how the fuck I found that, I do not know, but that's just sheer luck. But unfortunately, although she liked me, I mean, the last actual day I saw her was in the first Tuesday where her mind was open on that specific day. And I was talking about not getting a relationship, and I was sort of feeling really low on that day, and I was talking to Lucy about it. And she says, you will find someone, I guarantee it, you will. And when I tried adding her on Facebook, she turned against me like anything. It's like she doesn't really like me, or she pretended to like me, or she couldn't identify my picture, or I don't know what caused it. I mean, I can't guarantee 100% it is her that reported it, but there were suggestions to back up my theory, even though no one could say anything of who reported it. And obviously, because I put Ella, her name, on Facebook, I got in trouble for that later on, which it might be Jesus Christ, in fact, now that the amount of things that are uncovering with this specific person's name, this specific person, I think you can fucking say it's too little too late. Even though I like that person, I still do like that person, but I'm never going to see her again. And it's going to have to be her that makes communication with me. Obviously, I can accept that she's been in a relationship. I've got no choice. There's no choice in the matter. But if it's gone too far, the thing is, if it is her that I saw on the 15th of July in the morning, this type of person is going to make her pregnant. It's going to be too late. Because I'm not going with a stale person that's been made a mother or whatever else. You're just going to have to find me something new. If Jesus Christ has turned against me in human form, returning through Ella, it's going to have to be replaced. Not to tell me that I need to be born of twat with Jesus kicking out of me. That's all they've been doing for the last they've been doing this right. Even in 2003, they were suggesting that. But the problem is, what they're not taking into account is that I haven't had anyone sexually. All they're doing is taking the piss out of me with these setups, all suggestions saying you're reborn with Jesus Christ kicking back in you. That's all they're doing. And so what they did after I saw Ella on that day is they started timing 700 to 1,000 loud bikes plus to sexually excited erections, tingling rim and bell end, or itching bell end and rim, impulses in the bumhole, time going toilet, time washing certain areas, anything that's to do with my private areas, they need to time a loud bike. And I'm getting fucked off with it. In over 6 months, there was only 5 days where it's 300 to 400 bikes timed to erections or whatever. All the rest was 700 to 1,000 each and every day, and I got really pissed off with it. This is the worst year on record for the loud bike issue. There was about a 3-week period where it was slightly down, and it's in July. Up until about the end of July, something like that. Things sort of going to August, and then the loud bike issue just went to 700 to 1,000 every day again, including yesterday, every single day. So apart from one of the days I went to Bridport, can't remember when it was now, but it's definitely this month, where it was about 300 to 400. Take that away, I've had to put up with 700 to 1,000 every day again. And also the setups are on the increase, as I mentioned on the, like just now from the pieces of paper. There is actually another piece of paper, but I'll read the rest of those setups out when the page is full, so I don't get lost of which position that I've read it at. But I will say something. The start of it is to say that you lost Ella, and making the suggestion. Well, actually, I'll read this out because this is quite serious, and then I'll read the rest out later. So basically, there's a Nolan lorry, which is a red lorry that says Nolan, which can also be plural to apply no one. 12 months guarantee car. Then there's an Ella lookalike. This is a bit younger than Ella, so this person's about 14. Then there's a mum bag, followed by a guarantee van, and then time to an erection. They need to time an air shattering loud bike. So it just shows you that the people that are setting this force up are basically telling me that they're putting my life down the drain, and they've turned that person against me. I would never know the reason unless she ever contacts me or whatever. If I saw her in the street, I'd say all right to her. But if she's got a boyfriend, and she's with someone, I would just totally ignore her and walk on. Because I know it's too late and that she's no good in my life, and it's basically turned against me. Basically, that's like saying Jesus Christ has turned. But going back to that one specific day when I saw her, I liked her like anything. She's like the cutest person I've ever known. Her actual face, the way she's built, you know, the way she's born, the look of her, is like you could just see. It's just a suggestion that that person was made for me. Now, if I was to go with someone a lot younger than me, I'd feel a bit embarrassed a little bit if I was walking out in the street. But with this person, this specific person, I showed no fear whatsoever. And when I was playing pool at the pool table with her, I was letting myself out. I was like, I don't know, it's just sort of, not like I was possessed, but I was giggling with her. We were talking to each other, and I was looking at her in the eye. You know, when we're talking, it's like I've not done this sort of much in my life, because autism sort of makes you look down when you. It's just like I went into like a normal phase for several hours there, and sort of speaking normal conversations. You know, which I've never done in my life. It's sort of how that happened, I do not know. And there's one thing that happened. I was feeling very shaky at one specific stage at Upmind, which is in a church, by the way. It's a disused church that they put the community day in. I started shaking. Something was like making like rumbling. I was sort of really, really shaky, very nervous. And I was like like that. I was like, I couldn't like control I felt like I was going to break down and fucking cry in tears. Because of how much I like that Ella, it sort of gripped me. But it's like something possessed me inside. Or how I did not break down on that crying, you know. Very shaky and nervous. It's like I was breaking down. I sort of crying, thinking to myself, I want her, and that person's meant to be for me. And it just hit me really badly. But then again, I did have a load of fags the night before, and I was still kind of tipsy the following day, because the vodka was still in me, you see. It's one of the most tipsiest days, at the start of January, and was like that. And I was drinking a lot more than what I drank now, and it's 20 fags a night, not 5 or 10 or whatever. I think it's about 8 I had last night, which is not too bad, but I don't smoke through the day. And I don't drink through the day. It's only in the evenings, but I'm trying to stop the smoking. But I'm struggling with the vodka because my life's not changing. You see, I want a partner, you see. And when I saw, out of everybody I've known in my life or seen in my life, something about that Ella just gripped me. It's like she was meant to be with me. It's like you could see it, you could feel it. It's like God's created that person for you. You were meant to be with that person. You remember her from a different time or a different place, but you can't work out where. You know, you sort of had that sort of thought, or you know her, or what, you know, or this person, yours. You know, it's just sort of like, I don't know how to put it. It's sort of like how do I word it? It felt like she's in the family. It's like she was separated from the family. It's like she's in the family. She's yours. It's like a feeling like that person is yours. You know, it's just like she's meant to be there. It's like you knew her from somewhere, but you don't know where. It's like she's part of you, but you don't know where from. But she was meant to be part of you and got detached, and you saw her again, but only on that one day. I was speaking to some of the people in authority, saying that I like that person, and I haven't seen her since, obviously. But later on, they sort of got a bit funny about it with me. They said, and they just sort of said, well, the reason you never saw her again is because she doesn't go there anymore. Because, you know, you're a lot older than her. Although she's a young adult, you know, she's very vulnerable to older men. And you know, she'll probably want a partner her own age, and saying stuff like that. and saying this is why they had to change her position in the work courses that she's doing, and that's why you couldn't go to ARC to socialise there, because apparently they've been through domestic abuse, these young ladies, and some of them are very mentally ill and have gone through bad times and been sexually abused as a child, so they've had to stop me going. The setups, however, are claiming that I've been to ARC, believe it or not, and they're making a suggestion that there's someone that looks like Izzy Simpson from Britain's Got Talent that goes to ARC. This Ella actually kind of resembles, her face resembles my face, so she's got my face in her face, but also she's got the appearance of Izzy Simpson and her eyes with a bit of the suggestion of my dad's eyes. Obviously she's a lot younger, and obviously in preference I'd probably choose a tiny bit older than her. But that specific person, because of how much I liked her, if the chances were there, I would have gone with her. And I wouldn't have hurt her either, and I wouldn't have cheated on her if I got in a relationship with her. But it's been put through, so there's nothing I can do about it. This is why I want a replacement. It doesn't matter what age a person is, but I want someone with a smooth attraction appearance, who is not well used, and who isn't a mother. That's all I'm asking for. Doesn't matter what race it is. I do like the Asians, I will say that. Japanese or Chinese, but you know, if anyone can help, please do that favour for me, because everyone shit on me. The whole fucking lot of them. Including Jesus Christ himself. If Ella is Jesus, that is. There's no guarantee, but the suggestions, you don't have 250 music tracks uncover the name Ella since you knew her. Because I never knew the name before that, and I never took into account. So when music says Ella, you know, or Ella, you know, sort of subsequent drumming space actually says Ella in the track. There's a few other tracks that are jungle tracks that I've known for most of my life that actually say Ella and Justin. There's actually a foretold jungle mix which is connected to the jungle mixes I used to buy on cassette tapes years and years ago, that actually says that Justin is in a relationship with Ella when he's 45. And also the mainstream media and the music industry in the mainstream of the main chart stuff is also suggesting that I'm going with Ella, or that I'm in a relationship with Ella, or a foretold prediction does fallen through. This is very serious. The Dance Trance head cover, which is also on a book called Mind, A Simplified Study, is the same picture, you know, from that book that's on the Dance Trance tape covers of the 90s. But also that picture, that specific face, I think is done by Fitzgerald, I'm not sure. But there's actually a singer called Ella Fitzgerald. I think it's a jazz singer, not my sort of music. Also, that specific picture of that face that's on the Dance Trance cover, or the Mind book, is the same, actually looks very similar also to how Ella looks, who went to Mind on the 14th of January. Now, like I said, I would never hurt that Ella, and I would never turn against her. I'm very pissed off that the friendship's broken up, or that we can't see each other again, because I really wanted to get to know that person. But it's too late now. The likelihood is, what I've been told, or the hints that I've been getting from people in authority, is she was pretending to like me. So Jesus Christ might be the devil in disguise. But even if she hates me, I don't hate her, but if I see her with a boyfriend, or she's been made pregnant, then I will turn against her, because of how my feelings have been hurt. But not out of spitefulness, but you know, because the way I've been treated and whatever. If she's got a boyfriend and she's made pregnant, I will have to turn. I won't go for her or anything like that. I won't hurt her. I'd never hurt her, because I'm not that sort of person. But if I saw her, and she had a boyfriend, or I saw her walking with her child or whatever in the future, I just walk past and ignore her like I don't know her. That's what I do. Obviously I feel upset when I walk past, but you can't help the mistakes that have been made. And when it comes to me on the other side, all these people that turned against me in this life, I don't want to know them forever and ever in my next life either. That mistake's been made, and it's too late with every one of those people out there. I know it sounds a bit cruel, but you've got to have some sort of regulations that you put in place. You can't just let people shit on you and take the piss out of you and leave you for dead when you've been sexually abused and never had sex all your life. No, that's not an answer. Anyway, there is a lot more things that are uncovering when it comes to this Ella, because Animal Voice Sounds up until 2 months ago were saying that Justin's going with Ella, and that's been happening since January when I first knew her. What I will say is the latest threats, which has been going on since March onwards, or even before that, actually February in fact, because there's a time period where I was told that Ella's got someone. All the people outside were saying, we fucked it up for you getting Ella. She's got a boyfriend now, and that boyfriend's going to make her pregnant. And just the other day, I think it was yesterday, no actually, it was yesterday. Because I was in all day most of yesterday, because I was on dating sites and friendships, trying to make friends because I've been shit on. The thing is, you can't find anyone single, because even when they're children, they're in relationships. And some of them are actually mothers before the legal age of consent, even in the UK. This is getting out of order now. By the age of 23, everyone's a mother. This is why I've got to look further afield and look for different races, like Chinese or Japanese, which I do like. I do fancy Japanese and Chinese. I do like that type. If I got a person, a girlfriend, someone I could fancy, a replacement to Ella, this is quite serious actually, this Ella business, but if I got a replacement to Ella, and I saw Ella in a relationship with a boyfriend, and she recognised me and say, alright, then I'd still love her to the heart. But if I'm single still, and I see her in a relationship with a boyfriend, I don't want to know her forever, and I should just walk past and ignore her like I don't know her. But it might still be possible, The media, even 8 months after it's been put through, the media are still making new suggestions that's only just sort of come out this week to apply that I'm going with Ella. Even the football tournament, the football and the World Cup season, it seems to be all rigged around to suggest that I'm going with Ella, and it ends May next year. But they messed it up. They've taken her away from me because of the age difference. Although it's legal, if I wanted to go with her, because of the age gap and because she's a very young lady, they've had to split up our friendship. And they've had to put safeguardings on us because it's in authority buildings. If you were to make friendship with her in a different way, not through authority buildings or whatever, the situation wouldn't be so severe and it wouldn't be a problem. Or if I got someone from China who's basically her age, that wouldn't be a problem. But because it's linked to authority and she's under control under authority organisations, and because obviously it's a mentally disabled type place where I saw her, they've had to split up our friendship. But this is for good. This is why I'm not allowed to put anything I want to try and ask if someone can help me to find her to get in a relationship with me, but I can't ask that question anymore because I'll get in trouble. It's too late. It's been put through. But I didn't realise at the time that these opening suggestions or spiritual uncoverings of suggesting this Ella, I've actually had dreams with this Ella, like real friendship dreams, But the thing is, they put it through. There's going to have to be a replacement, but it won't replace it. That's the problem. They just keep telling me that the replacement is you'll become pregnant with Jesus. That's all they tell you, saying that you're a twat and that you're going to become pregnant with Jesus. If anything it's sexual, they need to twist it against me. Like on those sheets that I read out earlier on. You know, it's through the net. It's gone. It's through the net. It's fallen through. I mean, I can't remember some of the stuff that she was mentioning because it's so noisy in there that I could hardly work out hardly anything that she was saying because she was speaking quite quiet. But it was packed. It's the most packed day I've ever known at Mind, that actual day I saw her. You had the police there, in and out. You had many different workers coming in, going, many different people coming in, coming out. It was a hectic one. It was really busy. It's the busiest day I ever knew Mind to be. So, yeah, but the thing is, it's these uncoverings, these suggestions, which near enough since the day I saw her. It started in music tracks, and I thought, fucking hell, hang on. And I thought, yeah, but, and then I never saw her again. More was uncovering and uncovering. Then it got serious, and then it got to a stage where I was mentioning it to the people in authority that seems interesting. And even the Spanish flag, because it suggests Dance Trance the wedding anniversary, the second wedding, the two tape packs with the red and the yellow, which are the same colour as they're the spine of the tape packs, by the way. Red for the first one, or no, I think it's the yellow ones. It doesn't matter what order it is, but the two tape packs had red and yellow on it, and that's exactly the same colour as the Spanish flag. And also Ella is suggested in the Dance Trance the wedding anniversary. And you also got to rig it around Izzy Simpson on Britain's Got Talent, the young magician who's now an adult, that was on telly, a decade or whenever it was ago. So, yeah, there's so many different things that are uncovering. I'm trying to think what it is. Commercials, adverts, making the suggestion or implying that I'm in a sexual relationship with Ella. They've also been making the suggestion of Armageddon, in some ways, making the suggestion that God doesn't turn against Justin, and then that Justin is going to collide with Ella and get in a relationship, and that Satan has lost the war. But that's not the case. Satan's won the war. If you work out on that principle, even though they're suggesting it, that does seem to be the case. But there is replacements. If one God has turned against you, say for example, Ella was Jesus Christ's return, or a connection of Jesus Christ's return, to be my partner, in the way that all this suggestion is unfolding around me, then obviously, yes, Jesus Christ has fallen. Which means two options. They're going to go to war, or there's going to be a replacement. As it stands for ground setups, like obstacles, things like walking about, because this rebirth was suggested, going back years ago through the media and the music industry, but that's all stopped. They're making the suggestion that it's got to be done by two people having sex with each other and becoming return of Christ sort of thing. But as far as the ground setups go, like walking about, the obstacles that occur, wording on t-shirts or van names or whatever, that they're just suggesting that you need to be reborn with Jesus Christ, or we're ripping you to pieces and cutting your throat and making you serve time forever and ever in every life you live, if there's no return of Jesus Christ, saying that you jeopardised everybody. But they're not taking into account that I've been sexually abused and stopped from getting sex in every life, or it appears anyway, with psychic readings. So that's all I can say on that subject for now. Right, I can't get to the other church to use the toilet because it's blocked by cows and bulls. The other thing I want to mention is I've got the trots, and I can't exactly go anywhere because there's houses and people around. So there's been a few more setups. I need to, oh god, I need to get to another place. There's many things that I could mention about this specific person called Ella. I want to mention more in the way of threats, not happening today, but through time, the last 8 months, from the one and only day of the fleeting friendship that we had. Yeah, most of these threats are saying that you're too young to go with Ella, you've got to go with an old lady, or saying that you're a middle-aged man. If you're in China or Japan or USA, you wouldn't moan about the age gap. But Europe and the UK are fucking terrible for it. Not all of them moan, but most of them do. So without all that, you're saying that you've got to be knife dead, telling me that I'm not supposed to be with sexual attraction, or saying that Ella's too hot. You can't go with people that are hot or you get knifed down. Saying that you've got to go with grubby looking ladies. You've got to go with my mother, your thickened head and stuff like that. So that's what it comes to when it comes to threats, is like that. And saying that you're going to be shot dead, or you're going to be ripped apart in your next life, or whatever. Let's get to the rest of these sheets, because as soon as I left the church, I can't get to the next church, as I already mentioned. So we got, right, where is it? A red car tied over a drain cover. Then there's like a suggestion to apply. Well, you're not going to get the doorway open out of heaven out of a person that's never had anyone, are you? Or never had proper sex, but that's their intentions. So they're making the suggestion. I worded it like this because putting it down as wording on vehicles, t-shirts or wrappers or whatever coming out as a message, you're just not going to understand it. So I'm going to, unless it comes out suggestive like it did earlier, it's not been that suggestive for a couple of years. But today, I've gone back to that. Yeah, so the suggestion that's just occurred, well, not just occurred, but a short while ago, is to basically apply that you failed to deliver with Jesus Christ by opening the doorway for heaven for everyone through just in time. There's actually a jungle track that says that. It's called Dar Dogs Non-Stop, which says every single time, but it sounds like everything's in time. It says he will be here forever, watching just in. Also, that track, not far from the start, has a sample where it goes Ella, as to say Ella. So they messed up on that track as well. And actually on Tango Future Followers, the unreleased VIP mix, there's a sample in there that sounds like it says Ella as well, which is through. There's quite a few jungle tracks that are through. Well, they're all through, aren't they? 250 plus, they all say Ella. Trying to think what other track. There's another serious track. It's like a Doorway to Heaven track, which mentions Ella. I've forgotten what it's fucking called. It's not on the. I know that there's a few tracks that are serious, but I just can't remember what they are. Let me get to the rest of the setups. Oh, you did have a couple of threats, by the way, but they were mild threats, and that reminds me, there was a couple of threats this morning that were on previous sheets of paper to the ones I read out. They're basically saying that you molested Sadie, and that's why we fucked it up for you going with Ella, and saying that you molested Stephanie, and that's why we fucked it up for you going with Ella, and saying you're not having anyone, you're a fucking child rapist and stuff like that. Well, I've never had sex with Sadie, and nor have I had sex with Stephanie. And it's the same with this Amy, with a surname that begins with W, which is suggested in Scooter's Night track, which they messed up on, because obviously they twist Scooter's music against me deliberately in 2003. People were giving me trouble because I can't remember the full information out of track because I don't listen to it because there's a load of shit. There's a bunch of cheesy fucking music in the charts. So basically it says, soon I'll have you moving in time. It's not my fault, or lyrics, something like that. I can't remember what it said, which is applying it's Justin's fault, Justin Time's fault. So you know it's like that. Anyway, going back to the sheet of paper because there's people coming. You had an owl say you molested Sadie, or you did do Stephanie repeated. There was a rat van with a car with an evil phantom headlights, and when I was passing someone's TV, which was switched on, as I was passing, there's a lookalike to Ella and myself on there. I don't know what this track is, but someone was playing on some music on their phone, and it sounds like it's saying Ella, 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 Ella. So I've heard that a couple of times actually. I don't know the track. Well, I know what it is. By sound I know what it is, but I don't know the title or anything like that, because I've heard it quite a few times before. But yeah, that's occurred. Right, so Crow has said over 45 now, just in a sort of croaky way, now as a crow would speak. Well, I'm not actually over 45, I'm still 44 until December, but that's what happened, that's what came out as some form of voice sound from, you know, an animal. Yeah, there is something else that was being mentioned back at the time when after that one day that I saw Ella, and that's because obviously people were mistaking me as Sven and saying that we messed it up for you, because they thought, you know, thinking that I'm Sven when I'm not. They said, we messed it up for you, you're saying that I lost Ella, Sven, and they're saying that your real name's not Justin when it is. So we've had a lot of that as well. Not today, but, you know, through time over the last 8 months. I got pissed last night, so I was a bit paranoid. There's a specific place I was wondering whether to bid on or not, which is not far from my father's, so I accidentally bidded on it. So what I had in my mind when I was pissed is, there's no way I'm going to get anyone. I need to get out of the area and go back towards where my dad lives to see if there's anything in that area, even though it's likely not. So, but the likelihood of me getting that place is next to nothing anyway. But yeah, I'm a bit annoyed that I accidentally got a bit too much drink in me. And obviously I was listening to Dance Trance Never Ending Story, a section of the Fallout tape, 12th of the 2nd, 1994. Just something edged me, something hit me in the head, to bid on that property. I can't remember what it was, but I was quite gone at the time, because I drank at about 10 o'clock, started about 10 o'clock last night, and by 12 o'clock I was pretty much on my way. Obviously I am going to try and get to grips with this, but it's not easy at the moment. There's been a couple of threats, by the way. I've got some of the nastier people. I don't think they're actually from this village. I think they're from Yeovil or other places, visiting or whatever, because they're not usually like this in this area. It's very rare I get these sorts of people start on me in this area. But someone, this is a youth, well, a bit older than a youth, just got a bit shitty with me and said, Ella's got someone her own age, Justin. Someone says raped kiddies and says that your liver's gone. Yeah, I want to mention something else. I'm going to have to word it like this because it's not great. To word it how I want to word it would be very, very difficult to do without causing trouble if it gets into the wrong hands or the wrong people hear this recording. If we work out on the principle of a man and a woman, they're a couple, right? And then you've got like the child who is connected to both. But they're different, they're separate, they're different people from different places. But they've had sex and there's a child. Take away that man. If that child was to be sort of someone that knew me, to the story I'm about to mention, say the man died, that child would be with a woman. What if that woman and that child doesn't like me or anything, any connections towards me? That person would be gone, wouldn't it? Well, this is how it's going to work on the principle of a couple of threats that I had yesterday and the day before. Because someone says you have to wait until a certain specific person grows up. Because it's too late, there's nothing left, is what they say. That is not going to be possible. And also, this person that they're referring to may look basic, but it's the type that go into negative attraction, or the grubby type when they reach legal age consent. Anyway, going off that subject, going off that matter completely, I want to mention that if anyone's single, they're not going to go with anybody. The thing is, once someone is single, they're only going with people they know in their smartphone friends list. And they're all using stuff like WhatsApp and other chats. The problem is, I don't use a smartphone, and I can't operate these systems scanning a QR code. I use a cell phone for several reasons. The reason I don't have a smartphone is because it'd be pointless, because I had an internet phone before, you see, and I was topping £25 per month or whatever it was, and it was there doing absolutely nothing, so I didn't bother with it. I can't remember what actually happened to the phone. I think it got stolen or I lost it, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's that. And if I go out in the streets, I'm always writing stuff down. I've been doing it for many years, and I'm doing it on sexual grounds when I'm writing these problems down. All problems and all troubles on sexuality, right through the whole of my life. This is why I'm very upset and never happy. People are telling me I'm a moody old bastard, that's why you're never going to get anyone. How can I be happy when I've been sexually abused, stopped from getting sex, suffering badly in need of sex, on most days, in fact, when I've never had it, and all I'm getting is a loud bike being tied to an erection, hitting it down when I'm getting really desperate. Also, they're timing lookalikes to people who sexually abused me as a child trying to get an erection as well. That's almost on a daily basis. It hasn't happened so much in recent days, or the last couple of months. Taking away a couple of months, it's basically been every single day, at least once, for the whole of this year. And that includes the loud bike. The loud bike is fixed, regardless of what else is put in the way to the suggestion of whatever. Now, I want to mention something else. Going back 10 years ago, I was talking to a prostitute, just for friendship, because she told me that they don't give sex in the way that you want it, because they have restrictions. And she's not actually from the UK, she's from China, but she knows British language, and she's only, 22, I think it is, whatever it was, 22 or 23. So it's a decade ago I was speaking to her, and I was telling her the situation, that I'm desperate for sex and I can't get it, and they're saying that prostitutes won't give it. And she said they work a bit different over here than what they do in China. If you went to China, you get a full work, they won't moan about the age or anything like that. And this prostitute did say there are people that are going to be fussy about the age, but it's their own bodies, they can do what they like and whoever they want, and say they can make the rules, and all that. So, but she said it depends on the person. Some will let you have sex without a condom on. I mean, they've all had sex without a condom on. That's why everyone's a bloody mother by the age of 23. There's even there's even people that I wanted to get with this year. I mean, going back to last year, between July last year and the 14th of January this year, I made more single friends that are female that I've known that are single than I've known in my whole life, in just that time period. But the problem is, before I get a look in, all of them suddenly get taken, and 2 of them have been made pregnant. Everything's through. As far as friendship goes, or dating, we're back to square one on that. Everyone I know is gone. Everything is through. People told me, why don't you go and wait until your relatives grow up? The young girls that are connected to your family. The problem is, some of these people, the further down you go, are people that really fucking hate me. We go to a point where it's as bad as people that give me threats in the streets, sorry about that. It's got to come out. So these threats, they're basically saying you'll have to wait until they reach legal age, when there's too many years to wait. I'm 45 as it is already nearly. And not only that, but after the age of about 11, they're all taken anyway. And also, I don't really have much to do with these people that have those daughters, basically. They're not really, in some ways, I have hardly any family at all. Obviously, you've got my cousin Jay Matton, got problems with my uncle's got problems at the moment, I just found out, which I'm not happy about. Bloody cancer. Yeah, my mum had that last year and she had to have operations and nearly took her life, but luckily she survived. Yeah, there's never good luck, is there? Right through my whole life it's been the same fucking story. Problem after problem, trouble after trouble, and it's always been on sexuality. All these threats I've had all these years, all the trouble having to move, being stopped from going out, all this force action, this setup that's against me, it's all on sexual grounds. Yet I've never molested anyone or never had sex with a woman. You know, it's just like this all my fucking life. And people, even when I was younger, say 20 years younger, my enemies were deliberately taking people away from me, or claiming that I had HIV, or claiming that I raped children, or whatever, to turn all these young females against me. And then after they got with them and made them pregnant, said, haha, we made them a stale piece of shit, we made them pregnant, you're not going to get her now, haha, fuck you, we fucking hate you, and all that sort of stuff. You know, they turned all these sexuals against me for themselves. And there's never been a replacement. In actual fact, Ella would be the only person possible to replace, because that one person is gone. Me finding someone, you're looking at 1 in a million people Ella's age that would accept me with the age gap. It's literally impossible to do. It's literally going to be impossible, unless there's a Chinese, obviously, or Japanese, or someone. It will have to be someone that comes from another country that's moved into the country, because someone in the country are likely to be brainwashed, moaning about the age gap, like every fucker else. To actually replace what my enemies are taken from me, you know it's not possible at my age. And even Ella, although she's one of the better looking types, they were hotter than her as well. It's not repairable, it's not replaceable. Obviously, I'll be happy with something that I can just have sex with, but I just never forgive Christ forever. That's out the door. When you sexually abuse someone and stop them getting sex where they can enjoy it, or trying to force them to go in negative attraction where you were not able to have sex, in actual fact, enemies going back about 5 years ago were actually saying, just before I moved to Yeovil, saying that you've got to go in negative attraction, we're stopping you get sex. That's why they want you with negative attraction, stop you having sex, stop you making children because you're going to molest them and stuff like that. Their fucking foul mouths are so fucked up. I've had to put up with this all my fucking life. I was getting hundreds, well, thousands per night from the Palace nightclub when I was living next to that, when people were accusing me of molesting Stephanie back in that time period. I've never actually told Stephanie about these threats, but I did speak to her in 2021 and asked her if she remembers me from school, at Elmwood School, when she was in a charity shop, because she asked me to put hand gel, I think it's 21, or was it? No, something like that. She asked me to put a hand gel and sort of went into a conversation, but she didn't really say much, and that was it, left it at that. She's had a boyfriend since 2008. Whether she's been made pregnant, I do not know, but unfortunately she's not really my type. She did have a kind of smooth skin, but with all these enemies causing trouble and saying stuff like that, it was too risky for me to go with that person, because the threats came in before I got to, before I even got to re-see her or speak to her, and because the threats were overtaken and getting dangerous, it meant that I couldn't have that communication with her, and I just avoided her or ignored her in that time period. And then obviously it continued after she got a boyfriend for a couple of years, and then it died out. The Sadie threat, believe it or not, since 2022 onwards, is worse now than what it was back in the day when it initially occurred, when I was getting the threats from the Palace nightclub, which lasted for a couple of years and then it sort of died out. But it never really took off. The Stephanie threat was a lot worse than Sadie threat. back at the time. Then you've got people claiming I've been with Amy, but that never really kicked off much, because Amy's connected to all these hard types of people. So when that threat there is one of those that doesn't, it's one of those that's short-lived, or it's not said very often. Yeah, so one of those people out of the 7 people that I knew that was single, from when I was born to July last year, I've only known 7 people, and one of those includes Grace, which is one of the neighbours. Now, I did ask her, but she said no. I left it at that, and we remain as minimal friends. I won't go into anything else, because obviously it's not right to without anyone's permission. So the next thing I want to mention is there's one in Willavington, a young lady. So I was 15 or 16, I was 15 or something like that, 16. But unfortunately, she didn't actually live in Willavington, but she came on visits. And she kind of fancied me, but she also fancied other people as well. And I think she was a bit of a lesbian, because obviously she said that she fancies the girls as well. So, unfortunately, she came into big money, and she never visited Willavington again, and she moved away. Whether this is true or not, it's just word by mouth. Or, it was mentioned, but there's no evidence of this being true. But apparently, when she got into a lot of money, she went into a relationship with a young celebrity. So that was that. There's another person called Karen that I knew at Bridgewater College, but unfortunately she was 17 at the time, and just coming up 18, but she got in a fucking relationship with a fucking staff worker at the college, which is roughly my age, as I am today. But back then, that wouldn't have seen a problem. But since 2003, they put a new rule in place where workers are not allowed to go with anyone under the age of 18. But the legal age of consent is 16. So that's another person. In some ways, I knew Amy, as we could say 8 people, but I knew Amy for a little time when I was a child. But she didn't really like me as such, and she took her own way. Thus, so in some ways, I don't like Amy at all. I wish I never knew her. Not to be nasty, but that's how I feel when it comes to this specific person. Because she nearly landed me in jail for something I put on Facebook. But what I put on Facebook was due to the setups that were occurring that I mentioned, like walking about, coming out as messages or whatever. And it was suggesting her very strongly at a specific time, claiming that I've had sex with her when I haven't. And I got a bit upset about it. And then I told the police, well, if you're going to have to do that, you're going to have to get the government involved for the order setups. And I said, you'll have to get everyone involved that went to the Palace nightclub giving me threats. And then I said, I'll start war over it, because I said, on sexuality, I've never had sex with Amy. And they weren't very fucking happy. But they managed to sort it out, even though I wasn't happy with the police. And then the police left it, and they said they're going to tell Amy that nothing else is going to be mentioned, and that was the end of it. And then I had my Facebook channel reported where I lost it and had to get do another account up. So and it's on sexuality as well that it got reported on. Right, so yeah, so it's not been a very clever life. My life's been shit. I mean, there was a time period where I attempted to do like trial work. I mean, the police had to go there within the first 2 hours because of all the people starting on me when I was trialing a job going back many years ago. Just on a trial basis to see how I'd get on. People were starting on me left, right and centre. And although I wasn't writing down the setups as frequently as I do now, you had that as well right across while I was trying to work. But like I said, I was only stating it a lot in briefer, but it was only like a trial thing that I did, going back 2005, 6, something like that, I can't remember the year. I was hoping that life was going to change, you see, because the day I moved there, basically everything kicked off, and I thought 2 weeks I was going to sort of, trial the job, I was going to decorate the place, and I just left it and just put my life down the fucking drain and just drank special brew every night for 3 cans a night. And I just did that for years and years. Then I got a dongle and started going on Facebook and listening to YouTube. And basically that's all I've done since. However, from 2014 onwards, I started socialising more. But the thing is, apart from that time period, because I mentioned most of the people, as far as school days go, when I was at school, literally there was no one single. All of them were taken. But this is different. It's different today than it was back then, because all the people in the school, most of the people in the school, were with people in their neighbourhood rather than people in the school. No one seemed to be in relationships with the people in the school. It seemed to be with people in their neighbourhood or people that they know away from school. Where these days, it seems to be, because they have the smartphone network and everything like that, everyone seems to be in a relationship when they're still, at school. This is the thing, you see. Taking that section out, where I was going Bridport and other places where I knew these single people more, and where you had Lucy and Ella and Victoria, the youngest of the adults, that went to Mind. Won't give surnames, I don't know the surnames anyway to most of them, because it causes offence. Because obviously there's so many people with the same name, nobody's going to know who it is anyway, but just want to mention that, but everything's through. It's pointless me going on, obviously I give you some backing stories, but that's in school days. I liked Lisa Pike as a friend, but I didn't fancy her. Because obviously she was one of the more sort of types that some people didn't fancy, or what most people that prefer the blonde type or the sexy sort of type are not going to go for the type that look like Lisa. Unfortunately, her interests and her way of life and what she's into is opposite to what I'm into. And obviously she's not my type anyway. So, but as a friend, I did like her at the time as a friend. There was a time I saw her in the street where she laughed at me, it was raining, and she poured the water off her umbrella onto me as she passed, and she laughed. But I did get a bit nasty at Yeovil College and made a few threats at her when I was in a bad mood. After getting a load of trouble and threats, it put me in a sort of mood, in a frame of mind to do that. But obviously I didn't mean it, and that's some years before the umbrella incident. Yeah, because they're moaning about the age gap, you see. They were worse back when I was living in Bridgwater with the age gap. Just 4 years difference in age, it would have been a problem. People started to expand that a little bit. But going back, they were moaning because I fancied someone just 3 years fucking younger than me in Bridgwater. Obviously this person was taken, I didn't know that, but like everybody else, as I said, there's only 7 people, and I'm going to discount Amy, but you could say 8, because Amy I don't like, and I never will like. Now Amy, obviously she has lots of friends. I'm not going to talk about her sex life or anything like that, but my enemies have been fed by people that look like her. Now, she is sort of similar looking to Gabby Borges, the American actress, singer in America. I think she lives in Texas or Pennsylvania or something like that, I don't know where. Obviously, Gabby Borges is a sexual type, but Amy had that sort of more sort of sexual looking face, maybe a bit longer than Gabby's, or different shaped slightly, where it's more of a sexual or likeable sort of appearance, should I say. But obviously I'm not going to go into any more details on that person. This is why I can't give the surnames of these people, because if I give the surnames I can get in trouble, or someone could report the audio recording to the police or people or whatever. So that's why I'm only giving first names. And obviously some of these people I don't know the second names to anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. Yeah, that's basically that. The thing is, those that are genuine, the ones in the UK, it's not so bad in other countries, but the problem is, although most are scammers, 90+% are mostly scammers, it makes it very difficult finding anyone at all on a dating site. People have often said, go for a prostitute. They've got the same restrictions as everybody else. In fact, there's more restrictions on the prostitute than there is if you were to find a real person that would have sex with you. Because they won't have sex with you without a condom on. Some will only have told me that they only give blowjobs. And since the lockdown, some say that they only do phone call sex. And that's what a prostitute is these days. Where back in Jesus Christ's day, Jesus had 2 children by Mary Magdalene. People have told me to worship Jesus Christ. He'll help you find someone. 20 years ago, and still got no one. And I was praying. But that was before I knew that Jesus Christ had sex with Mary Magdalene. I'm not praying to Jesus ever again. It will fucking sicken me. It sickens me. The fact that I've been abused, and I got to think of the fact that Jesus enjoyed sex with a girlfriend when I've never had anyone. I get that thought every time people tell me to pray, or I get a thought of Jesus. How the hell am I going to, how can I accept that? There's no way I might ever worship in Christ. I might go to church. I might go to somewhere where I can socialise where there's people that's religious, like to the Christian faith. But I'm only going there for the socialisation and to see if I can find anyone that's single. But the problem is, there isn't anyone single at the church. Everyone that's over the age of 12 or 11 are taken, even at the churches. I forgot the next bit of information that I was going to mention on air, but it's just basically to say that all the community places or wherever you socialise, whether it's events or whatever, you never see anyone at all that is single over the age of 11. I'm not being funny, but you go into town, just any day you go into town, if you were to just glimpse or just quickly look at a child that's in the town that's over the age of 11, they all got a ring on their finger as well. Basically, I noticed, I'm not sure what it's called, because obviously when it comes to sexuality, relationships or anything like that, I've learned absolutely nothing about it in my whole life. So I'm still as stupid I am, because I don't know nothing when it comes to sex. Any words, or there's a few words I know, like what 69 means, or what, raw sex means, or stuff like that. But most of it, when it comes to wording or sexuality or stuff like that, because people have asked what sort of sex do you want, and I don't know what it all means, because I've never had it. I've never studied the subject. I never look at pictures, because it sickens me if I have to look at pictures of sexual women. It just fucking makes you feel sickened inside, thinking to yourself, well, yeah, everybody else has had that, haven't they? But you can't have that, can you? You've got to just have sex with people that rape you as a child in every life. That's the sort of, way my mind thinks, and it just fucking sickens me. There's nothing I can do about anything. The thing is, people are moaning about the age gap. That's the problem. But it's these people, it's these enemies and these people that have stopped me getting anyone right through my whole life. There was one person that fancied me. She had I'm trying to think what clothing she had on. It was a couple of months ago. It was not far. It was actually in the place where I went today, where I am at the moment. But it was not. It was down the track I went down. It was It was down the track I walked down earlier to come here. She had like, if I remember, purple top. I know it was a very hot sunny day. It was like a purpley top and pink pyjama bottom type clothing. She had dark brown hair. She had very smooth skin. She looked about like she was only about 22, 23, something like that. Now, I had the shock of my life, because what happened is I got an instant boner, because obviously I fancied her like anything. But I knew that she wouldn't have been single. However, when she started walking past me, she started smiling at me and started giving me the eyes, like a suction look in the eye that she was sort of, I don't know how to describe it, it's like she was looking at me like her eyes were sunken in, but like as if, like that. And she sort of smiled at me, started walking slower, and I sort of came to a stop, because I was doing sort of writing stuff down or whatever. And then as she walked past me, and she brushed her, because I had my coat off, she brushed her arm, her skin of her arm, onto my skin in a sexual way, as if she was implying that she fancies me. And then after she passed, I sort of finished writing down what I was writing. I sort of walked slowly, turned to look behind, and she was there staring at me. And then she sort of made some suggestion with her hands. And then there was some people coming in my direction that were rough looking. So I just sort of walked on, still walking slowly, and then I got the paper out, and then obviously after she was sort of slowed down, her phone rang, and then she said, "Shit." And then she started speaking in a lovable way to her boyfriend. So that's what she did. So whether it's like a relationship where she's just with a boyfriend or she's trying to find someone else, I do not know. Whether she's a mother or not, I do not know. She could have been younger than 22 or 23, but that's the sort of age I would have said she is, because when you get older, people look younger when they're actually a bit older than what they really are. Because there's someone on the bus that a friend was speaking to, and he was saying she was only 14 and she was 19. So, you need to find out from the person what their age is first, before you engage in, sexual relationships. In some countries, up until a few years ago, the age of consent is as low as 12. Meaning someone older than me, much older than me, could have sex with a 12-year-old, and that's the Philippines. Obviously, they've tightened up on all the laws across the world, meaning every single country in the world is at the age of consent is at least 15 or above in every single country. There's been a new law that's come into force where every single country has to be at least the age of consent of 15 in every country in the world. And every country has had to agree to the matter. So, the highest age of consent in the world, highest age of consent country in the world, which is known as the most strict country, is Turkey, which is 21. The highest age of consent for suggestions when people reach a specific age, that they suggest that you go with people over a specific age, is not an actual law, but the highest age of consent, two countries at the highest age of consent, where they suggest that once you're about 40-ish, you should go with someone over the age of 25, is basically the UK, and I think the other country is Germany, I'm not sure. Now, that doesn't have to be the case, but it's a recommendation that they strongly advise, meaning that the UK is the highest age of consent country if you work out on that principle of suggesting that the age gap should be over the age of 25 if you reached the age of 40 or whatever. Now, obviously, I've seen people, even in today's time, that are as old as me, with people that are not much older than 18. But it's usually foreign people, not English people, or possibly people from another country that are visiting the UK. Like I say, I'm not bothered what the age of the person is, as long as it's someone I can fancy and it's a very sexual person, because obviously it's going to have to be sexual, because I'm going to need to enjoy the sex. If you've been sexually abused all your life and you've had Jesus forcing his guts in and out of you through people that raped me as a child, forcing me to enjoy the suffering of sex, causing me to get my feelings out, suffering for the person who's forcing it out on me. You know, but Jesus Christ, twisted angel, I can't forgive Jesus Christ for this. I mean, how am I going to even get sex where I can enjoy it if I'm being forced to go with a negative type when I've not had anyone in my whole life? And yet all these bastards, and probably most of them haven't even been sexually molested, are being told that they lose virginity with a nice, sexy teenager sort of thing. In actual fact, most of them are having sex before legal age of consent. I've actually seen it. I've been on the bus or I've been on walks, and I've seen people as young as 9 having sex. And it's pissed me right off. Because obviously you can't get evidence of it, because it's illegal, and you get known as a whatever. You just have to put up with it and just write it down on your piece of paper and document the story in a bad mood all across the internet later that day. That's what I've done in the past. None of it's made up either. And I've been on buses, you know, and suddenly look up, you know, you're at traffic lights or whatever, on a double-decker bus, sitting there, looking in someone's house window, and basically seeing children having sex, or even men molesting girls or whatever. I've had that many times. I've seen that many times. There's nothing new there. So, you know. There is another person that looks like this Ella that I might be able to suggest. This person, mine, is only a girl. Is about 5 years of age. This is someone that goes to one of the churches in Yeovil. Her name's Ella Dora. This Ella that I like, that I've lost, who is Jesus, that's turned against me. She does actually look very similar to that Ella that's only about 5 years of age. Same sort of appearance in the face. They almost look identical, except one's a lot older, where the other one's only 5. Or something like that. But, yeah. The thing is, when Ella saw me, she said that she was there the week before. I didn't see her the week before because she was in a different room or a different part of the building, studying something different. And she said she was going to go there. I can't remember if it was March or May, but she said she was going to go there until a specific time. I think she said May, come to think of it. She said she was going to be there every week until May. And I thought that would give me a chance to get friendship with her, to build on it, to get to know her, to see if later on we could possibly get together. But unfortunately, after that one day, and I was thinking to myself, just in case I don't see you ever again, I want to try and keep that fucking secure friendship, because I want to get to know you more, and, you know, and because I feel that that's the right person, you know. But after that one day I saw her, it was a fleeting friendship. I never saw her again. I mean, I can't guarantee. But when I saw that person in town, it might not have even been Ella. I do not know. If so, I've not seen her at all since that one day. But all I have heard is that she's in a relationship. Obviously, if she breaks up and she hasn't been made pregnant, it's still on. If she'll accept me, if she can contact me. But if not, I think it's too late. I think it's going to have to be replaced. This has hurt me, actually, this has, because I really like that person. Out of everyone. Out of children I've known, out of adults I've known, out of old people I've known. Out of all people, there's something I'm attached to when it comes to this Ella. I don't know what it is. It's like I mentioned earlier in this recording, there's just something about that specific person. It's like you've known her from another time or another world, or it's like you're together. It's like you know you're together, but you just can't work out where it's from. It's there in the back of your mind, but you can't open your mind up to expand and get the information out to give that knowledge of what it is. But you just know, which doesn't usually happen to most other people, or nearly all other people, basically. There might be 1 or 2 people. There's one old person, really old, well, not really old, about 60, 65, something like that. I can't remember where it was. I think it was a zoo, or I can't remember, it's some place like that, or an animal place or whatever. There's someone I recognise, again, in the same way as Ella, from another time or another place, but you just don't know where from. And also Margaret, that works up Mind, she gives that appearance as well. And she's about 70, 80, I don't know. She's older than what she looks, I know that, because I think she was born in time when the war was on. I'm not sure, but she's healthy for her age, whatever age she is, I'm not sure. I didn't really catch the conversation, but she's recognisable from somewhere as well. But I think she's more sort of recognisable from the Bridgewater end, going back to 30 years ago, or 40 years ago. I'm not sure. Just looks familiar. But when it comes to Ella, it's different altogether. It's more like, and there's another person, like I said, this person's about 65, from the zoo, or where it was. The sort of, that was more given more like a, not in a sexual way, but sort of like in the same suggestion as Ella, but Ella seems to be more suggestive. Ella seems like there's physical contact with Ella, so it's like that person is a part of you, or is being part of you, even though you've not seen each other in your whole life yet. It's just like, I don't know how to describe it. I'm not psychic or anything like that. I keep getting bloody pushing down feelings in the bloody church, getting dizzy, or getting like, I don't know how it's happening, it's like a rumble on the floor, but it can't rumble because it's concrete. I don't know what's causing it. I often get tapping under my feet. There's been a lot of paranormal activity happening as well since I lost the friendship with Ella, since that one day. You've been having the tray in the oven rattling by itself on multiple occasions. For over an hour, in fact, on one occasion. I've actually got evidence of this, actual footage of paranormal activity occurring. Even yesterday. Again, it's uncovering Ella, because what happened was I was stating something on the internet, and I was basically saying it's too late to go with Ella. And then what happens? YouTube uploads by itself without me touching it. I don't know what caused it, but the page loads automatically by itself, playing that track that I've only known for 4 days now, which is Swift and Zinc, Crazed, from Swift and Zinc Volume 6, which is a Pink record. And it started playing that, but halfway through the track it says Ella 3 times. How can you continue, or feeding in or strongly suggesting Ella when the likelihood is already through? Looking at it on a religious point of view, Ella turning, if you look at it on a religious point of view, Ella turning against me is one big massive mistake. It's the biggest mistake in history. It's like, because if she was like supposed to be a connection of God, and it's like the 2 and 2 are not gone together, it jeopardised everybody. Now obviously for me, I would accept a replacement. But as it would work on the principle of a God, on the view of working it on religious grounds, everyone's sliced their wrist, everyone's in jeopardy, everyone's going to hell. Now obviously, I don't look at it like that, because there can be replacements. But the problem is, as far as setups go, setups I'm walking about, as I mentioned earlier, all they're saying is, because Ella's gone, what you'll have to do is you'll have to become pregnant with Jesus, and there's no one left. You don't tell people that if they've been abused and never had anyone. But that's the way it works. It's the way the brains are of the community, or that rig this force up against me, or whether it's God himself. I don't know who's causing it or what's causing it. The elite, the Illuminati. Well, not exactly the Illuminati, but organisations like them that live in underground bases, that run noetic science technology, that can advance technology 500 years per year in advance to what it is today. When they can do that, then they can make a portal and put Ella in my direction, can't they? Keep the friendship going where it's not too late. They ain't going to do that, are they? They'd probably do that for themselves. Find the sexiest people out there using noetic science, and then grabbing them all, and then raping them and bloody burning them on stakes or whatever, or in their satanic rituals, and drinking their blood or whatever. You know, that's the way they are. Like I said, I don't mind losing Ella if there's a replacement, but it's got to be a replacement I can fancy, and someone that's not a mother. I do like Ella, and like I said, everyone's in jeopardy because of the turn that's taken place on religious point of view. But when it comes to religion, I'm not too bothered. As if it's replaced, even if everyone are in jeopardy, or even if they sliced everyone's wrist where they've split me and her up, for the two gods to coming back together, if you want to look at it on the principle of religion, I'm not too bothered if everyone's in jeopardy. If there's a replacement girlfriend, all I'm interested in is getting a good girlfriend that can give me good sex, that I can enjoy, and someone that loves me, and someone that won't hurt me, and someone that won't cheat on me, because I wouldn't cheat on that person and I wouldn't hurt that person. That's what I'm asking for. A replacement. Obviously it's too late now because obviously everyone's in jeopardy because of the issue with Ella. Now, well, yeah, I guess that makes me in jeopardy as well, does it? Or not? I'm not fucking sure, actually. Either way, no, it wouldn't make me in jeopardy, would it? Because it'd be me that's the one that's been stopped. It'd be everybody else that's in jeopardy. Yeah. If you work it on, if that's reality, if that was really, I mean, I don't know, it could be. And you just don't know it. I mean, it could actually be that serious. But I just don't know. It depends on my God. No, I'm not. I don't know. There's Ella God, there's the second God, and they split the two up, and they cut everyone's wrists. I don't fucking know, but I can see this going into global warfare. It already is. Russia's already starting on the UK, but that's because the UK are causing trouble. Well, they are, aren't they? With Ella. Anyway. Obviously, I'm not allowed to contact this person. Unless this person contacts me. Can someone give me a replacement, please? Because if I'm not allowed to contact this person with a safeguarding on me, then unless she contacts me, which she won't, by the time I next see her, it's going to be too late. If she's already in a relationship, as I've been told, it's already too late. It's very unlikely she's going to escape being made pregnant. It's definitely going to have to be a new person. I mean, it might still be possible. The media are saying it's still possible, and the media are implying it's still going to happen. But the problem is, they're even claiming and bringing new stuff out now, 8 months after I only saw her on that one time. They're still suggesting that I'm going with her, or they're making strong suggestions. They're even bringing out new suggestions this minute in time. And also paranormal activities are suggesting the same. But how can it suggest the same? How would you, when it's through, how is that possible? This does not make fucking sense. Has God fallen or what? Is there another person called Ella? There isn't. I don't know. Well, you've got Ella Dora at the church. That's only a 5-year-old. So what are they going to replace it with? Because it's, you know, it's too little too late. Like I said, if there's anyone from, you know, that's Japanese or Chinese, get in contact. Because some of these Asians, I will say this, some of these Asians, they got a sexy looking face. I've got to get the bus. Don't want to miss this one like I missed the last one. But they got like skin type or facial appearance when they're in their 40s or even up to 50, and they still got like, they look like a teenager. Where, not all of them, but there's a lot of them that do. That's why I prefer the Asian race, because they seem to have that sexual looking appearance, you know, even older than me. Some are about 60, and they've got that really soft, smooth skin appearance, even at 60 years of age, and they only look like they're a teenager. That's why I prefer to go with someone, you know, that comes from over there, because over here, by the age of about 36, they just go into grubby attraction. And some are just naturally born negative. Even some of these fucking school children look like they're fucking back end of a bus. And imagine what they look like when they're full adults. So, you know. So, yeah. That could be the biggest mistake they've ever made, I don't know, when it comes to Ella. But, on a religious point of view, just supposing that was the case, as what I was mentioning in the recording, then, yes, that would work on the principle of everyone has cut their throat. But would that still be the case if there was a replacement? But then again, you can't replace God. So, obviously it would make me feel better because it would help with me and the situation. But obviously when it comes to God or anything like that, everyone's cut their throat. But like I said, I'm not bothered by that. If there's a replacement's good enough. So, you know, if there's anyone single, let me know, because I'm struggling like fuck to find anything at all.
Back on the subject of Ella, the return of Jesus Christ is also known as the wedding, the Great Wedding. Well, I only saw Ella on that one day, and it's through. Chapter 19 by Trinity, which I mentioned earlier, says, "I can't wait for love." Also has a sample in it that says Ella, and it's through.
Right, to the rest of the issues, so we've got the bike issue, 2 more with active written on the side of their, on the back of their tops. A lady said their fault, who was basic looking, white car, GSF white. Another bike issue, mostly bike issues, to cut a long story short. Black and blue grey, Somerset Waste Partnership, 2 white. More bike issues, Muller milk, black knife shaped, timed and blue. I just want to mention, because everything's through, you know that, as I was mentioning earlier, that Ella's through. The Great Wedding, Christ has fallen. How are you supposed to follow the Great Wedding if you never had anyone? Right, so there's Buggy, tied to a penis tingling rim, motorbike, Hellfire Club top, teens about 13, talking about being in sexual relationships, 14 of them on the bus with a ring on their finger, 8-man lorry. Right, so we have white sexual car, horn van, blown its services van, core van, penis excited, so M bike, S, SX van, Nike, WF van, more bike issues, and more bike issues at the moment. Going back to the subject I was mentioning earlier, when Christ returns, which is Ella, is known as the Great Wedding. In Christianity, it's known as the Great Wedding. So obviously, there needs to be a replacement for the Great Wedding. So, you know, because the rest of time is sliced, as I mentioned earlier.
Right, so grey blue sexual car, white orange evil looking car, oh dear van, grey white light on, almost head on crash, with a tractor with an iron trailer, whatever you want to call it, on a corner. So obviously they needed to try and hit me off on the bus I'm on. Bonus motorbike, Simply Serve van, Kex bag, motorbike tied to erection and Hurst, and grey and black and blue white.
These bastards are setting the sports up. This control force, they're getting real right nasty bastards today with it, I'll tell you. So gun suggestion, boner tingling rims for motorbike, bonus motorbike to itching tingling bell end and rim. Gone, mate said. 4 more bikes to the same issue, white grey, black grey, checkmate van, grey white, 2 white, black car. Somerset Waste Partnership, Prize, spelled F-R-Y-Y-S, van, blue grey car now trying to smash into the bus on the corner, almost hitting the bus like the tractor incident, and then there's a car tied out a side road which comes out accidentally slightly swerved, almost to smash, impact straight into the fucking bus. And then after that, tied to a tingling, itching rim bell end and sexually excited erection, sudden motorbike. Right, so they're getting fucking nasty, really nasty. Right, so we've had grey out of a side road, bonus a motorbike, slicker lorry, white car, just come to fucking pieces t-shirt lookalike, murked lorry, MRCT, rip and destroy van, stone masons van, gone van, manslaughter jumper, bodies van, Somerset Waste Partnership, smash you to pieces rubble flatbed lorry, and several cars coming out like in black and blue sexual whatever. It's not a very good day to say the least, because there's a few more things I need to mention. I'll start with a sheet that's gone. What's happened? Bonus a bike, time to tingling whatever, rim, red sexual car, Bamford, red white, blue grey white, colour cars, get a sexually excited erection, so there's a motorbike, black grey white, Hags van, teens pushing a buggy, just come to fucking pieces t-shirt lookalike, ADE van, Aid, 410 van, red sexual timed and black grey white, blow you up just, pervert said. Yeah, him, wearing mission control, being beat up said. Yeah, I have a t-shirt that says mission control, dance transmission control. It's my favourite jungle tapes back in the day when I was buying those tapes for £4.99 each. Most of them that I was into, or 6 mixes, were mission control, and their top favourite mixes that I like that are jungle music. And I like them to this day, and I listen to it to this day. Right, where to? Bike only, Abri van, no sex sticker in a car, making sure it van, straight after. Someone says Ella only helps those in need of sex who are her age, you bloody pervert. Wells said, they're not adults if they're not mothers, you fucking throwback said. About 5 minutes ago I smashed my knee in on the gate. I was going to go for a field walk on a public footpath, but unfortunately the gate decided to slam, and then I accidentally got caught, and I accidentally smashed my knee into the gate. So yeah, I'm not happy about that. And also got a bruise which is hardening from being whacked in the covered the top, I don't know what you call it, where it could have been the door, I'm not sure. It's what happened when I was pissed, and it smashed me in the waist, and so it's got a painful bruise that's gone into like a hard lump. I look on the internet to see what it means when it goes into a hard lump, and the blood clotted, so it's going to take a couple of weeks to eventually evaporate, or whatever, clear up. Also, I just want to mention that I've had a piece of cheese. It's meant to be a very strong cheese. To me it tastes like a very tasty, mild cheese of the 1990s. Either way, it was nice to eat. I would have preferred it to taste a bit nicer. But then again, certain cheeses seem to give you the shits at the moment. I don't know if what's causing it, whether they're changing the bacteria between making each cheese, or whether they're using the same bacteria or whatever. I don't know what's causing it, but yeah, the stronger cheeses, no matter what one it is, they seem to give you the shits. Right, so there's been near enough the same issue with another gate. Not so hard this time. Same leg, and in the stomach. Anyway, let's get with the next page. That not many setups at the moment, apart from what I just mentioned. But I will mention what's already on the page. Right, white sexual car, red sexual, black, grey, white, sick colour. Not fucking having her. That's a t-shirt, by the way. And the t-shirt that says not fucking having her has a commercial look to it. So it's possibly a well-known t-shirt. I'm not sure, it just looks commercial. Right, next thing. Sad, she's so hot, he's being stabbed. I can't remember the exact term, so I rewrote it because I forgot the way it was said. It's similar, near enough to same. And this is by that sort of person that gives you the "oh fucking bosh, I mean, oh fucking" sort of accent. Oh, this bit pissed me right off, this did. There's a girl aged about 10. She's on her fucking smartphone, and she's basically talking about wanting a fuck from her boyfriend. So she's like sitting on the bench, and asking her friend to come out to fuck her. So that's... oh, and also, I forgot to mention that she has a ring on her second finger at that age. Right, so we've got an hour saying you did do Sadie or molested Sadie repeatedly. Also, 40s Justin, repeatedly. I just want to mention that I can't get down to where I wanted to go. It's grown over by brambles. There's an hour and 15 minutes before the bus actually arrives, and there's nothing to do. I was going to go in the church, but it's locked. Last time I came here it was open. They usually shut them about 5 o'clock. Yeah, so basically I've got to put up with hot sunshine and sweating for an hour and 15 minutes waiting for the bus. The thing is, I'm going to these places to try and socialise to find someone, because I've not had sex in my whole life. But apart from the strike of luck between July last year to the 14th of January, where I saw Ella, is where I saw them single. But before I got a look in on all of them, the whole fucking lot's gone. They're taken, 2 have been made pregnant, and now I'm back to square one, looking when everyone's in a relationship. Even the children are in relationships. This is not very fucking helpful at 45 years of age when you never had anyone. But I just don't know what to do. You can't go to like nightclubs or anything like that, because everyone's mistaking me as Liam and Savannah and getting nasty. I went to the Chicago Rock a couple of years ago, whatever. I sat there on the table on my own, and all I was getting is staff looking, giving me nasty looks, coming up and down. Nobody would come over and chat to me and all the rest of it. They were all on the dance floor, they were all with other people. You just sit there on your own. In the end, I was just standing, walking around, went to the dance floor, just standing next to the dance floor, with teenagers giving me fucking sicko threats, and the boyfriend saying, "You're a sick cunt, I'm gonna fucking knock you out," or whatever, while dancing with their blonde teenage girlfriends, listening to drum and bass and modern hardstyle, whatever they were, whatever they play. So yeah, that's it. And then obviously I got kicked out because I lit a fag a few seconds before I entered the back, the garden area where you're supposed to smoke. And I searched the previous time and told that I'm not allowed to film in there on the camera when I was filming the jungle track that was playing. A modern jungle track, obviously, but it wasn't that great, that track. But it's to hear jungle played, at a place, it's rare. I think the bestest it's got on all the other places I socialise is Baby D, Let Me Be Your Fantasy. That's about the best it gets when it comes to the jungle scene in the mainstream. And I'm not really keen on that track. It's alright if you've had like a couple of beers or vodka or whatever, and you want that rare sample of a bit of a cheesy track or a commercial track, but all in all I'm not into that sort of style. All my stuff is deep and underground and dark. But, you know, not much you can do. I just don't know where you can go, what you can do, or how to mix with people, because there's just nobody at all, nowhere single. People online, including these scammers who have scammed me, by the way, said after they scam me, sort of, sometimes some of them fell out, some of them kept on remaining friends, or later on trying to ask for more. But what I will say is, one of the scammers this year told me, after she scammed me, that you've got to socialise, you're not going to get anyone online. Before she blocked me, obviously, but I think she just deactivated her account. But yeah, it's like that. So, you know, there's not much you can do about it. This is why, going back to the time I saw Ella on the 14th of January, I wanted to build that relationship. I mean, she did have bracelets on, she did have rings on, and she did have a wristwatch on. But she did, when I spoke to her in the conversation, I didn't ask the question as such, but it came out that she was single, or she implied she was single. And obviously she liked me on that day. I'm not exactly sure whether she's pretending, or whether she's being funny, or just pretending to be nice. I do not know, but the sense I got around me was that person was as she is. When I went to the toilet, I left my bag there. I said, look after that for me while I go loo, yeah? And she said, yeah. She didn't touch it, and I knew she wouldn't. I can work out what she's like. If she's been turned against me, it's people that have turned her against me, if that's the case. Not her. But if she's followed that instinct or gone with that, then obviously that's a bit like a fall of Christ. But, you know, it might still be on, it might still be possible. I do not know, I ain't got a fucking clue. All I know is I'm not allowed to contact her in any way, or I get in trouble. But if she contacts me, then maybe she can. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. But as I said earlier, if this is the return of God, connecting with another God to make the one God back from the fall, then it's through. And it's the biggest mistake in history. But you know, there's nothing you can do about it. There's a couple of people that have been saying you're being stabbed with a knife, or you should have been stabbed with a knife. So it's distant, but that's what's being said, and it's being said calm. Back to yesterday, I forgot to mention that the light flickered. I think it was a couple of minutes past 5 PM, and it flickered in a way where it's a paranormal flicker rather than an electrical fault, and it flickered as to say Ella in like a pattern. And that occurred as I was mentioning that it might be too late to go with Ella. So basically the spirits are telling me it's not too late, because obviously I had that YouTube track, the Swift and Zinc track that I mentioned earlier, come up and play after I sort of doing that, mentioning that it's too late. So who is it then? Because who's it? What Ella is it? What is it? An Ella I don't know yet, or is it? Because that one I saw on that one day is the one I'm connected to spiritually and by soul. I mentioned this right through this recording, so I don't need to keep mentioning it. So what's happened and what's going to happen? Because the media is certainly suggesting I'm going with that person, and they're still suggesting it at this minute in time with new suggestions that are being built onto it right now, 8 months after it's fallen through. It shouldn't take 45 years to find your first sex partner, or to get sex for the first time properly in your whole life, especially when you've been sexually abused as a child. So why can't something be done about it? Why can't God, when he creates this fucking planet and causes whatever, why does he... It seems to me that I was born to be ripped to pieces, to live up to your name just in time, serve time. Going back about 2 weeks ago, I asked someone, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get the person in trouble, although that person has reported my Facebook, I will say that, and I've been in trouble for asking this person if she's single. I just decided to ask, is there anyone called Ella that goes to ARC? And this is the reply I got: I don't really know. So, just wanted to mention that, because they stopped me going ARC when I signed the form to be able to to go there, to have like a social event and do things there, to interact with people, to try and see if I can get a partner basically. And because of this issue of what I put on Facebook and all the rest of it, and you know what I've been mentioning, that they didn't let me. Right, since Saturday, all these setups have started to become very heavy and much more malicious again. But what I want to mention in particular is going back before, because these setups have been down for some time. There have been nasty days, yeah, and there haven't been very good days, but there seems to be an increase since Saturday onwards. It's gone back to this really malicious, heavy setup. We're going back before Saturday. The setups are making the suggestion that I'm with Ella, and that they're very angry about it, and they don't want me with Ella, and that they're hitting the roof, going absolutely crazy on me. But the problem is, I'm not with Ella. I only saw Ella on that one day. She was taken from me, or something caused her, as I mentioned all right through this recording, you know. Anyway, since Saturday, the attitude has changed to say that you're not getting Ella, and that they know that you're not getting Ella. So it's like, if it's caused by the same force, or the same whatever is doing it, then they're contradicting themselves with the specific 2 days of today and before Saturday on a specific day. I can't remember what day it was. So how has that occurred? Right, so the setup started to calm down on the 20th of July 2026, but there was a slight reduction from the 16th of July 2026, and then obviously on the 22nd, on the Saturday of August 2026, these setups increased again. Right, recently I've been speaking to people on Friendship. It's not that recent, but it's recent-ish. This is one of the ladies going back. Actually, it's not that recent. Anyway, someone was speaking to her in America. They're sort of saying that the age of consent in the UK is 16. However, there's restrictions on people in authority that are in control of people between 16 and 17, where they can't get in relationships until they're 18. However, in America, it's 16, and anybody can go with 16-year-old if they're adaptable to the age gap or compatibility. Now, I was saying that in the UK, if some people have problems with it, and I said in the UK you're likely to get beat up, weapon down, or even attacked because you're with someone with a different age gap. And the lady was saying you wouldn't get that in America. She said there's some people that are nasty, but as a rule, in general, that wouldn't be a problem in America. But the problem is America's a different country, isn't it? And Japan and China and other places like that, there would no trouble at all. Obviously, they have up the age of consent in those countries, but as far as age gaps go, it's not seen as a problem at all. It just seems to be in the UK, Europe, certain places in America, because she was mentioning that probably you get it here and there, but not like it is in the UK, where it's almost every person. So, just wanted to mention that. Right, so how scarce is it in the UK of there being single people? Well, let's put it this way. Someone sexy of a young age, who is not a mother, who is fresh, you're looking at about how many old 1960s Mercury Vapor streetlights are still standing with the original Mercury Vapor bulb working. It'd be about as rare as that, of how many single people there is that are left in the UK. All the rest are knife-shaped LED lights, the new street lights. How many of those are up? 99.9%, is it? So there's like 0.1% of the nation, the people in the UK that are single are going to be available. How do I know, and how do I get that person when I don't know that person, and there's no link or no connection to know who that person's name is, or where she lives, or whatever. Right, so who's going to be the replacement wedding? The Great Wedding. because I'm not being funny, but it's not a good title, is it? You don't say the Great Wedding if someone's been sexually abused as a child and Jesus returns to collect all his people. You don't call it the Great Wedding, do you? Because that goes against you, especially when he's been in a sexual relationship with Mary Magdalene as well, which just adds to the matter. So who's the Great Wedding? So obviously Ella has been put through. So who's the replacement? Because obviously if she was God, that's put through. So who's the replacement then? Because I'm not happy about the situation. Because I've never had anyone, and I can't get to anyone. And when you've been abused as a child many times, and had nothing at all in your whole life, having nothing is not an answer to solving the fucking problem. So something's got to be done. I've mentioned this many times. No one's helping me. There's no one I know. Even the minors, they're all in relationships. As soon as they hit the age of 11 up, they're in a relationship, and because they've got a smartphone, they only go with the people that they know in person. And like I said, everyone's a pervert. So as soon as that person's out that relationship, all the guys or the boys or whatever would get that person straight away before anyone else does, before you even get a look in. This is what's happened with those people that I knew between July and the 14th of January 2026. All those people have been taken, 2 have been made pregnant. I don't know what to do, how to do it. You can't get a prostitute, you see. They don't do it anymore. Everyone's different. Since the smartphone network came in, it's closed everybody off. People say you have to go with people you know in person. I can't. Everyone's taken. We're back to square one, finding new people, and I can't find new people because there's no one single. That includes the disabled and mentally ill community. Right, going back to last year, I think it was November or December last year, is when I started using dating sites. It's after I was like sleeping out and doing all that sort of stuff last year, when I came back in October, end of October, when the police picked me up because they weren't happy with what I was doing. Well, I started using dating because obviously coming up at that time I was coming up 44, and now I'm coming up 45, and still not had anyone. Anyway, I was speaking to I think it's an American lady on dating site. Now she seemed genuine, but obviously it's the costs of getting people over here when people are not willing to chip in or actually pay to come over or whatever, because I don't have that sort of money to pay for someone single to come into the UK, and I've been scammed many fucking times, especially on the gift cards that they seem to be wanting since the gift card thing never existed when I was using dating going back. This is a new thing that started from November onwards last year and into this year. Anyway, this American person, I told her that I've been abused and I'm not very happy about being 44 years of age and not being able to get sex with everybody moaning about the age gap, or everyone being a mother, or very used. And she told me, if that's happened to you, you should be entitled to anybody you want, any age, any type, if something like that's happened to you. But I told her they just won't allow it. You know, obviously within legal limits, you know, legal age or whatever. But I told her they just won't allow it. And she just gave me a bit of advice, saying that, you know, I can't remember what she said now, but it wasn't things like get help or anything like that. It wasn't like telling you to go to a doctor or get medication or get therapy or anything like that. She's sort of trying to guide me into getting, you know, sex, doing it the way that it should be done. But unfortunately, the ways that some of the things that she said and I tried, it just failed. It just failed. But yeah, I wanted to mention that. Going back to the early part of this year, just after January, I can't remember when it was, but you had like a sports season, and with the Google search bar, they were making the suggestion that I was playing pool with Ella on the following weeks, where she didn't turn up ever again after that one day that I saw her on the 14th of January. So that's interesting to say the least as well. Not realising that Ella's gone completely and she's detached from any communication with me whatsoever. When we had the World Cup season occur, they were making the suggestion of Ella with the football player in the sort of moves that are being made on the Google search bar. Then, when I arrived home, was it I can't remember what day it was. It might have been Saturday, I'm not sure, or Friday, which had been the 21st or the 22nd of August. You had another thing come up. It's actually the night that I located that Swift and Zinc Volume 6 record with that track Crazed on it, which I liked on first listen, rated it a 10 out of 10 tune, which says Ella 3 times in the middle part of the track, which I was unaware of until the day after, where they're basically having some form of suggestion to apply Ella Justin, like that, in the thing that they suggested, not realising that Ella's through. If she's not through, that communication or that friendship needs to start immediately, because otherwise it's too late. I think, to be fair, this person's going to have to be replaced. It doesn't matter if God's fallen, if that is a return of God in some form or another, in the way that occurred. Just going to have to accept that God's fallen, but if something replaces it, you know, a new girlfriend replacement, which is a bit more imminent than Ella, then please do that favour for me, because obviously I think the time's come where God's turned. I think this is the final straw. I think it's the first time God's ever turned. I don't know, I'm not really religious, but it doesn't bother me because I'm not religious. But what does bother me is I still haven't got anyone, and that's the problem. Unless I can think of anything else that I need to mention, the rest of the recording's just going to contain the setups, and we just had an itchy issue with the loud bike. Yeah, there's people about, so I won't say the full, but you know what I mean by that. Right, I noticed this on Saturday, and it's happening again today. I've noticed that they're putting the rough types of people in my direction, the people that give me threats. That's reoccurring as well. Right, so walking from where I've just come from, when I did the last recording, you had an Alone top, followed by a Forever van, but it's not the same Forever van that I saw earlier. White car, Dead but Not Forgotten t-shirt, grey sexual car, 20 cars, about 70% of suggestion, like black and blue or sexual, whatever, roughly about 20 cars, 1960s van or bus, whatever you want to call it, that's sexual looking from the 1960s, and then obviously a couple of people vaping, and I have to put up with that. Yeah, and thanks to the government and thanks to the smartphone network, do you know that's made it impossible for me getting a virgin as well? If I got someone back in the day, at the time, obviously that person might have been a sexually molested virgin, but I wouldn't have minded. But because people stopped me getting anyone back in the day, there is actually no choice but to go with someone that's stale. I'm not happy about it, but there's no choice in the matter. There's absolutely no choice. So if there is anybody that's available, that's come out of a relationship, please let me know, yeah? Because 44 coming up 45 and there's been nothing at all. Also, since Saturday, I wanted to mention something else that just popped into my head. The people that are passing me in cars are giving me nasty looks, or they're sort of saying something, or they're shouting with, you know, someone got their windows up, so I can't hear what's being said. But yeah, all this setup, or all this malicious action's been stepped up since Saturday. So basically, what they're doing, and timing more loud bikes, it's basically timing those like bearded type people, the people that have that accent where they sound like Bosh him out and whatever, and those that are mistaking me as Liam and Savan. So all that's all increasing at this minute in time since Saturday. Otherwise, between around about the 20th of July, as I mentioned, there was sort of some form of break from these types of people, but now we're back into the situation of trouble. Yeah, there's something else I want to mention. There's literally, it seems to be sick everywhere lately. The last 4 months, there just seems to be sick everywhere, in every town, nearly every pathway. There seems to be sick or dry sick where people are thrown up, where people can't handle their alcohol, whatever they're taking. The problem is, people have to walk in it, do you know what I mean? And although it's dried up, it's not exactly very pleasant, is it? Right, so I just had a dirty look. So what happened is I saw basically a sexy lady in her mid-20s. So she was walking past, picking her nose, and As I looked at her, she just gave me that fucking evil look as if I'm a sick bastard. There's something else I want to mention. Just supposing, I don't know Ella's family or anything like that, but just supposing God, if Ella was God, or part of God that's been disconnected, how can you guarantee that she hasn't been born with rough parents who don't like me, for example? Obviously I don't know her parents, and I only saw her on one day, but I'm just working it on a principle as a possibility rather than fact. Or anyone come to that, you know, if it's like a God connected person, if you get what I'm saying, there's that possibility as well. And can that also influence or cause God to turn, or a section of God to turn? Just saying, I don't know. Also, how do you know that the influence of friends, especially in the smartphone technology world, could also have influence, which could also endanger or cause issues? You've got that to think about as well. Yeah, so quite simply, when it comes to people in my area, unless they've got homosexual attraction skin, or got homosexual attraction appearance, where that feminine, smooth skin type appearance is not there, you're just put down as a sick bastard by everyone. This is another reason why I can't get anyone. Right, I've got a bit of shocking news to tell you. This is someone that worked in authority that has heard about this Ella, and as that person passed me in the car, he said, I fancy Ella too. Right, so there's 1 3/4 pages of stuff since the last recording. Most of it's the bike issue, and a few Muller milk miracles. There was something that was serious said by someone in the car because of roadworks, and obviously when you're walking past the cars you can hear what people are saying. And one of the people in the car, this seems like someone, well, authority, but a different sort of authority, maybe sort of towards military, police. I'm not exactly sure, not police, but some organisation. I'm not sure what it is, but I could tell by the t-shirt. And basically said, no, the woman, sorry, she said, he still hasn't got anything. Global war. I don't think they'll go to war for that. Tingling, itching, whatever, washing privates in the shower and all that sort of stuff, loud bikes. For the first time would have threats sort of died out. To bring up Sally, which is a threat that really hasn't occurred. It didn't even occur that much in Burnham-on-Sea, but it's starting to re-touch down, saying that he should be shot because of Sally, referring to the Sally in Bridgewater. So, yeah, there's also been a couple of shot death threats, and all in all, a couple of paedophile and child rapist threats, and a couple of weapon threats. In fact, it's not the bestest of returning home experiences tonight. Things are starting to touch down a little bit nastier than they have been. The threats are on the increase. The setups are on the increase. Obviously, I've mentioned the dates in the recording. That takes us back home. So if there's another just over 50 incidents with bikes, that puts it in the 700 area, which is 7 to the 1,000 mark, which means there's another day where it's hit that many, which is likely because it's only 7:45 PM. Going back to the issue, there's a CD that I hold when I go out. I use it to lean on when I write stuff down. It's usually a track listing, but sometimes I take both of them. It says, anyone single, ? Single since birth due to never being at anyone single who aren't mothers or negative attraction. It says, I'm now 34 in 2015. I'm being referred to the uglier uglier than the age people were when they raped me as a child. Ladies, the age Jesus was when he was crucified. I'm moaning about my age. Dating sites up. I've been high-cost scams and prostitutes don't exist. Now I read that out in 2015, but what's happened is I've got photocopies of it and just replace it every now and again with the photocopy pieces. I really need to update it, but the information on there is good enough. Only recently did the original piece of paper that was in there get so tatty that I had to chuck it away and not put it in a new CD case. But I took a photo of the CD as it was aging. Obviously it has been changed once before from the previous CD. I think it's been changed twice, where CDs cracked or broke in that just over a decade period, and it's remained in a clean position till that time. And obviously I've got photocopy sheets, and it's now come to the stage where I've got to use that, and I am. I've had to change the bottom part as well because it had my old email address on it, Candlelight Hauntings. My new email address, or the email address that I use nowadays, is justintime1981 langford@gmail.com. So if anyone's single, as I mentioned earlier, please help me. For fuck's sake.